Good, fire away.
Let's talk a little bit about the end of the half.
Yeah.
Last week in Brazil. Talk to a couple of the guys, just how aware everyone has to be of that situation. You're clearly proud of that happening, but tell us kind of what goes into the coaching to make sure that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are involved in that. I mean, we have Mike Frazier, our analytics guy. You know, he talks to us all the time about what happens if you get tackled and you get knocked back and the clock keeps running. You know, he talks about the timing stuff all the time with the whole team. Coach gives me a lot of time in training camp and OTAs to work on those little things and, you know, the situational stuff that could come up. And we practice fast field goal. We call it Mayday. We practice that a lot. And it doesn't happen very often. You know, it's a situation. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen for that to happen. And when he got knocked back and didn't get out of bounds, you know, going forward, we knew right away, you know, everybody was on the same page. Everybody knew, including Noah, that we had to go. You know, we had to go Mayday. So, and everybody did a great job with it, you know, including the guys that had to report and, you know, and Noah running the ball out and putting it down and us not changing the ball, you know, not getting the ball changed. You know, we kicked the quarterback ball. We didn't change. We didn't kick a kicking ball. That might have kept us from getting a shot at it. So, you know, a lot of credit to everybody. You know, the operation went smoothly and, you know, Bucker nailed it. And, you know, it was good to get 3 points right there.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, what are some of the differences between a quarterback ball and a kicking ball?
Yeah, a lot of difference, especially now because the league they send us, I can't remember how many, but almost 100 balls to you know, to get ready for the whole season. And when I say get ready, I'm talking about working them in and softening them up and getting them ready to kick, to make it, you know, it's like you're not kicking a ball out of a box. And quarterback balls are different. They have different stuff on them, you know, different, you know, like, I don't know, it's like almost like dirt almost on the ball, and they're a lot harder, you know. So you know, they're not worked in near as much as a kicking ball would be. So they're a little harder to kick, and you're looking at maybe 5 yards difference, you know, between, you know, the two balls.
You know, sorry.
Go ahead.
Andy mentioned that, you know, you got it off in even less than what you know. What is your kind of rule of thumb on how much time?
20 seconds is like, you know, you can run a play, you know, and still run fast without a timeout and still run fast field goal and get it, you know, that's comfortable. And then in practice, we practice, you know, see how fast we can go, you know, so we take it, we start at 17, we go 16, 15, and, you know, we've done it in 15 seconds, but that's a perfect world. Everything is perfect. There's no referee involved, you know, taking the ball and maybe, hey, we're going to change. No, we're not going to put it, you know, none of that's going on in practice, so you can get it off a little bit quicker. So 17, you know, we knew that's like about as low as you can go in a regular season. I mean, there wasn't much time there for us for a mistake, you know, or any kind of a glitch with the referee or anything to happen that for us not to get it off, you know, for us to get it off.
Dave, two things, Dave. Are you just yelling Mayday on the side?
Yeah, we're saying. I mean, right early on, it was a Mayday situation before the penalties, before we had the two offsides. But we were in Mayday situation. If they get tackled short of the first down, it's Mayday. If they get tackled past the first down, then they go up and they clock it. You know, the offense clocks it, and we're relaxed. If they get out of bounds, Mayday before, you know. But the penalties, I mean, it just kept knocking us back. And I said, hey, now this is definitely a Mayday. I mean, we're third and whatever it was, 17. I said, this is a Mayday situation. It's rare we're going to get the first down. So whatever we get, you know, if we're tackled in bounds, you know, it's Mayday. So we were ready to go.
And the other thing is that just from talking to the guys yesterday, it sounds like the specialists practice this all the time,
Yeah.
but very rare that you guys do it with all 11.
We do it with all 11 during training camp, not during the season. We don't do it, but training camp and OTAs, we do it with all 11. You know, we have an offensive play run, and I give them a situation, and, you know, and I tell them we're going to get it. Here we're going to be short, and we're going to get it. Mayday situation, you guys clock it, you know. So we set it up, you know, that way.
A week since you have all 11 do it.
It's been training camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 11 that ended up on the field, or the 11 that are intended to stuff?
Yes.
To be on there? Like,
Yeah. You saw where Hollywood was on the other side of the field. He was the last one off the field. He actually started to get lined up as for an offensive play. Then he had to run off. He was the last one off. Yeah, everybody knows who the field goal team is.
Yeah, so with Noah, I mean,
Noah's on the field goal team.
yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
like the guy catching the pass, I mean, it's not the guy catching the pass on the field goal team that would make that much harder, right?
There would just be another guy coming off the sideline. You know, another tight end would come in and be that guy, and then Noah would run off the field. Excuse me?
That's where you might lose
Yeah,
ball.
yeah. I mean,
That's what I mean, yeah.
whoever's catching the ball. Now we practice that too. You might not be on the field goal team, but whoever catches it has to run the ball up and get it to the official or put it on the ground. You don't want to just throw the ball to some different guy. You want to try to keep it in play. I mean, those are all the coaching points.
Couple more.
What are the Eagles' special teams like? As
Yeah,
early in the
we
year?
do have a game coming up. Yeah, the Eagles are good. I mean, obviously they're world champions. They play really hard, very well coached. Coach Clay does a great job with them. They got a lot of guys back. When you look at them, Shipley was a returner. We don't know about him. He was injured yesterday, so we're not sure he's going to play. They did sign Tank, so he's a returner. So we think we're going to get him back there and kick return. The punter man is excellent. The kicker Elliott, he's got good range. Just a well coached group that we'll have to get ready for.
You had several different returners in this last game. Just what did you see from the bunch that you?
I really like Taekwon's return, and then obviously Worthy got hurt, so we had to take him out of that. Now he's like the third or second wide receiver, so it's going to be tough to use him back there now. So we're going to have to dig down into our depth a little bit this week and have some different guys back there. Bouchard, he had a couple nice returns. He had a nice one. He probably should have stayed in the end zone, take the ball to the 35, but he got it out to the 35, so that was nice.
Last one, Matt.
How do you feel about that? Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll go last one, Matt.
Two more quick questions.
Mayday.
Do you when you run that in training camp? Do you use a kicking ball or
A kicking ball, yeah, we have kicking ball.
Substitute that out before the-
Oh, we don't do the substitution. We don't do that in practice. That's why I said it's a perfect world. We just,
And then are you communicating with the officials before that play, letting you or Andy Reid letting somebody them know you're going to do it, or?
no, they're pretty well coached up. If you're running out there, they kind of work with you. They're not going to slow it down. They understand what you're intending to do, and they get it lined up pretty quick for you. But that's the part that you don't know. That's the unknown. That's where you have to build in a couple seconds there.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Good morning. Yeah, it's a morning. You guys ever do this? You guys write? Do you guys still use pens and stuff? I end up with blue. At the end of the game, I got blue all over my hands at practice. Well, it made me think of that. I just wanted to open up. Today is September 11th, and pretty monumental day in this country. So we haven't forgotten about that, and I get a chance to mention it to the players this afternoon. Of course, none of them were around then. I remember it. I was in Philadelphia. It's a pretty traumatic day. With that, I'll just kind of open it up. I mean, I'm only going to go back real quick in saying that none of us defensively were real happy with the way we played last week, and certainly hope to be much better this week. And the whole focus of this week is to chase improvement, which is what we do, win, lose, or draw. But especially this week when you don't perform real well the previous week. So with that, I'll just open it up.
Steve, you had a real hard time getting pressure early
Yeah.
on. Was it the fact that maybe you were looking run and they went pass all the time?
You might have hit on something right there, because quite frankly, going into the game, we all felt like they would try to establish the run first. To their credit, they kind of shifted gears right from the beginning. Maybe it threw us off a little bit, but I mean that's football. I mean, you just gotta. We did talk a lot about, in the first game of the season or in the first quarter of the season, it's going to be about adjusting in game. And maybe we could adjust it a little bit quicker. I thought we did a nice job coming out of the locker room in the second half where we needed a 3 and out, and we got that. Actually, the second drive, we kind of got a second a 3 and out. But there wasn't enough good plays. I mean, when we talked after the game in the locker room, and I think our guys are great, we all felt like everybody took a turn making a mistake, myself included. There's about 4 or 5 calls I would have liked to have had back. And I think every player to a man said the same thing. So if we can eliminate those, we'll be better off.
You had a couple of guys, obviously Drew and Chris, the cameras caught.
Yeah.
You were kind of getting on Chris after he
Yeah.
went in and Herbert got around the outside. Just your reaction to the emotion.
Yeah, I
what happened on
think
that
guys
play?
get caught up in that. Listen, we like fiery guys, so it's a good thing. Speaking of the quarterback, I mean, I thought he played terrific. I think he's terrific anyway. But he was on fire. He beat us with his arm and with his feet, and because of that, I think they came out as a winner.
Steve, did Gelati flash to you, or did you think you earned more time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys wouldn't have been out for one-on-ones yesterday, right? We did him a little later in practice, but I thought he did a really nice job in one-on-ones. He'll play, but he got that elbow. Otherwise, I think he would have had more plays in the game, but we'll keep trying to gear him up.
What do you need to see from Christian for him to get on the field more?
Well, Christian lost a lot of time. A couple things there. He's behind a lot in some of the things we do and the way we do it. We had him involved in a play yesterday. He did it a certain way, and I had to talk to him about that's not. So there's still a little bit of that. And Jalen had a pretty solid game. He made a really nice play in the red zone to knock a ball away. But we're going to need. Listen, you need 3, 4, 5 corners as you get through the season. So we'll need them.
Is it a hope that Trent can still play inside?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, we put him in there a few times in the game. Listen, you all know, you've been around long enough that Trent's pretty effective in there. But we pick our spots, so do the same thing.
It seems like at the second and third level, I mean, some of the receivers were open by multiple steps. I guess, how do you reconcile just maybe?
Yeah, early on there were a couple of plays that they ran that I thought were better plays than defenses we had called. A couple of things were eyes, and so we can clean some of those things up. I mean, there's an element of this in today's football where it doesn't matter what you call it, they have a better play called, and they had a few of those, and they had them early, and it gave them chunk yardage, which we don't want. We got to find ways to eliminate those and make sure we don't create any others.
You just communication stuff. So you guys kind of run into each other. What did you see when?
Yeah, I didn't. There was nothing after watching the tape or in the course of the game where I felt like our communication was off. I mean, I can think of one guy, man coverage. They run these rub routes and guys bump into each other. It's not communication. So I didn't we didn't detect that as the reason why. I just think we could have played better. And when they drop back to throw the football, it's a combination rush and coverage, right? Because you can't cover forever. We just need make the quarterback throw it a little bit quicker, cover a little tighter, and hopefully the result will be a little bit different.
Couple more.
talking to some of the players, they said that one of the first things you did was go back to them and say, hey, I messed up.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty common thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, none of us are perfect. I mean, I just didn't feel like I had one of my better games. And usually when I'm making a mistake, it's a fairly critical one because I feel like I should have called something else. But we all, we kind of all, but it begins with me. And like if you make, if I sit there and critique and look in the mirror and I've got 3 or 4 plays and I go, no, I shouldn't have done that, that could be the difference in the game. So I want to make sure, I myself want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
We're gonna go last 3, Vahe, Todd, and
Steve, I think they're really talking about the other side of the ball, but Andy and Patrick both seem to feel like there was a flatness early. Did you feel that on your side of the ball, or not quite the same way they were talking about?
I don't know. Sometimes I get so deep into the thing, I'm not even looking for that. Listen, I always talk to the guys about the 4 most important series of the game, or the first of the game, the last of the first half. I've talked about this before, the opening one, the second half, and the last one of the game. And I didn't like the first drive, but then we kind of bounced back. I did like the second drive the first drive of the second half. I don't know. Our guys seemed to be the same. I didn't think we were in sync, might be a better word from our standpoint. All the dots weren't connected like we normally are. You'd have to listen. I've always felt like, forever as a coach, right? I'm always in pregame saying, are they ready? How they look. I've never been able to figure it out because there's been games like, we're gonna get our butts kicked, and it goes the other way. But I think the players have a better feel for that.
last 2.
The challenge of the Eagles offense you saw in the Super Bowl, you guys did a decent job against Barkley, really.
Yeah, that was the other part of it. It was a little bit better. I always look at the point total, and I certainly didn't like the point total. We did play them pretty good for 3.5 quarters here in Arrowhead the last time we played. Different people, different offensive coordinator. I got a great deal of respect for this team, the organization, the quarterback, all the skill they have, the running back. There's a lot of pieces there to defend, and, we didn't have a good game last week, so it's time for us to put us all together, too.
Steve, for you this Sunday, you're going against Jalen Hurts, and he burned the Cowboys a couple of times with his legs. For you guys, what's the key mentality-wise to keep him contained?
Yeah, listen, it seems like we play one of these quarterbacks every week. The guy we just got done playing, he's a really good athlete. I give him a lot of credit for what he did with his legs. The guy we're getting ready to play this week is elite at that. We'll talk, till we're blue in the face about pass rush lanes and contain them. We'll have some things that we hope take that away. Part of the whole, in football with, the spy, whatever you want to call it. You got to get them in those situations. When you're in first and second down, you can't be spying people because they're going to run the ball right at you. So we got to try to dictate it somehow by having some, negative plays on first and second down and get things kind of steered in our direction.
Thank you, Coach.
You good? All right, thank you.
All right, guys. Good. Go ahead.
Can you, Matt, can you tell us just exactly how the crossing route's supposed to work and what went wrong there?
Yeah, it's. I think Trav kind of talked a little bit about it. It's just one of those unfortunate situations where you have one guy going a little bit higher than the other guy, and when you're running some of these crossing routes and mesh routes, sometimes when you have a guy pressing you, or as you're trying to work your release, that can happen. It probably happens more than you think. So it's one of those deals. It's unfortunate that how it happened with our own guy. Kelsey feels terrible and felt terrible, but we also, Xavier of all people understands that things happen, and that happened in that game. And what we got to do is be able to move on from that and adapt to it, adjust to that whole situation. So these guys have been great. It took us probably a series or two, to be honest with you and realistic, in the game to get through that, of how it happened and when it happened. But that's a part of life. It's all about adapting. So I feel like the guys did adapt and adjust better. And so that's what happened on that route.
Did the adaptation just come more from personnel you guys were using, or did you guys have to switch up the game plan?
Probably a little bit of both, adapting wise. There's some of that initial, Xavier has been a big part of this with the stuff, right? Training camp and practice, et cetera. So now you are, when you practice, you have so many reps and you're getting reps with those guys, and now you got to adjust. And no one's feeling sorry for us. We're certainly not either. And you got to be the next guy up and be able to adjust in that moment and stick to the details that we talked to all week. And again, I think probably for a series, maybe a series and a half, that didn't happen with all of us, and that's what we got to get better with. Eventually they got better, and I'm proud of the guys for rallying in that moment. I thought they did a much better job.
Maybe take the big first downs and so on, but I imagine you don't want Pat leading and rushing.
Right.
How do you establish a better run game?
Well, the simple, obvious answer is being able to be better when we run it, whether it's the scheme or the execution. You tie it together. And then, it's a credit to their defense. They did a good job in some of the stuff that they wanted to do. But really in football in general, the more balanced you are, and especially when you look at a team like Philadelphia, it's always going to help. So, but if we're throwing the ball well, we'll stick with it. If we're running it well, and then there's that balance of mixing the two. But you're right. We want to be able to be more balanced when we can. But we also want to continue to just trust each other and use what's best in that game.
How about the left side of the offensive line? How do you think it played?
I thought they did a good job. There was a couple plays here or there where you'd like to get back, whether it's communication or whether it's just something that the defense did. But again, a few things here or there which I think was probably expected. You just didn't want it to be a game changer. There's some that maybe prevented us just with timing of maybe being a little bit more accurate with a throw. Again, that's part of life when you have some newer guys on that side. So these guys are going to keep growing, but I'm proud of the guys.
What about the right side? I mean, it's not newer guys on
Yeah.
the right side, and there was plenty of
Yeah, well, speaking to the obvious, the penalties, that can't happen, and so that's where we're at. We've made it loud and clear. Jawan knows that. He understands it. It's something that, especially in a moment like that in that game when things are a little bit off kilter now with the personnel, and you start to move the ball, you have a couple positive plays, and then boom, a penalty or a second. So 3 penalties and a hold, not good enough. He knows that. When there's no one hiding from it, he's not hiding from it. He understands what's expected, and I think he's ready for that challenge here as we go.
Suddenly raise Taekwon's role, I guess. What tells you that he's ready for this moment of additional snaps that he's going to get?
What tells me he's ready is what he's done in training camp the whole entire time he's been ready. So there's, for the guys that we have in that room right now, I said it in training camp, the depth that we have from top to bottom is one of the best I've ever been around from top to bottom, 1 through 6, with all the guys when they're there. It starts to get depleted a little bit with the injuries and other stuff that's going on. But that said, we have guys, they're on the roster for a reason, and they've done a great job. And so now they get their opportunity to show who they are. And I think the biggest thing is the trust. We got to keep working that trust, and then when you get an opportunity, you make a play. Taekwon did that on that one corner route. He made a great play with the ball in the air, so we're going to keep that going.
We'll go Sam and then Nate.
Going back to the Jawan penalties, and specifically the false starts. When you watch other games, like that's a pretty frequent
Yeah.
thing, and it's inconsistent from call to call. Is that a conversation you guys are having with referees throughout the game? Are you sort of getting a feel for what you can get away with during the game?
Well, the inconsistency part with the referees is probably subjective with how they do that. But what matters is whoever that ref is that game, whatever they're calling, we got to adjust to them. That's our job as coaches to let the players know. And then as a player, it's your job to not do it. If they call it one time, second time can't happen. It's as simple as that. Like it's got to stop.
Matt, we know Patrick sort of showed a little bit more physicality because he was trying to get guys energized and get the offense going. How much of that do you appreciate in the moment, but also looking back, how much are you trying to get him to sort of find that balance and maybe lower that sort of?
It's a great question because it's who he is. His natural leadership is at the top. Who he is, he's a fiery competitor. And again, in that moment, I'm talking about the game last week. For a series or series and a half, it was probably not where we wanted to be. I can tell you it wasn't. And so, as coaches, as players, you should just internally always have that drive and that passion to whatever happens, you move forward. And so. I love what he did. That's who he is. He made plays, and I thought in that game, when you look back at how he played in some moments, it was pretty special in that time. So the guys saw that, the players saw it, we as coaches saw it. So now you guys do it too. And if we do that, it can get really good. But we got to do it earlier. It can't be waiting 3 series after.
We're going to go last to Seren and Nick.
Matt, late right before you got the last field goal, Travis was on a crossing route.
Yeah.
And he appeared to be jogging, and the cameras. I mean, Pat, seemed to say, "Come on!" Like, what was going on that play? Is there a design? Is he trying to sit down in the zone, or because it seemed like Pat felt like he should have been?
There's a little feel to that. Shallow crosses get unique. Some you have where you read it, where if it's zone, you'll sit, and if it's man, you'll continue on the run. That's day 101 in any offense. Then you'll have some shallows where you don't have a read and there might be a little bit of a throttle. And so there's a feel to it. And so depending on the coverage and what they do is going to dictate what you do. So just a little bit off on that one. It's one of those ones that at times can be gray. So you can't, I think internally we know where things go with that. But I mean, again, to defend both the guys, which is real, is there is in some concepts there can be some gray. I would say that one may have had a little gray, but there's been several times where there's concepts that are gray where it's worked and we don't talk about it. So that was just one of those ones. Those guys they talk about it, we figure it out, and I think we know moving forward internally what we want.
Matt, from an execution, discipline, and mentality perspective,
Yeah.
what do you need to see from this offense on Sunday, given that Fangio is on the other side?
All of that from the very first play. And so the energy, the execution is very, very simple. The energy is organic. It can't be fake energy, and it's not going to need to be in this game. Coach Fangio, we all have a ton of respect for what he does. He does what he does, and he's going to have some curveballs and change-ups that he throws at you. But in the end, it's about playing football fast, and whoever does that better. And I think a fast start, playing fast, being able to be aggressive, mixing all that together, you'll have good results. And so we're really looking forward to the challenge.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Y'all take care.
Hey guys.
What should the response be from the defense this week?
Listen, I think the energy in the building is great. Everybody excited to be back in Arrowhead, be back at home. The energy is good, man. The energy is good. Everybody has a positive mind frame. Philadelphia Eagles come in the town. We still have a bad taste in our mouth from the Super Bowl, so everyone is in a good space.
Chris, at the end of the game, we saw on camera you and Drew. You guys had a few days to talk this out. What happened at the end of the game, and where are you guys now?
Same where we was before the game. Teammates, looking to get each other better.
Chris, with Jalen Hurts and how he moves around and can take off scrambling, what are you guys going to be mindful of?
Just our lanes and rushing the passer. Got to be aggressive on rushing the passer. More aggressive than we was the first game of the season. We're gonna put that behind us, and we got a lot of skill set guys in our room that we gotta be aggressive in rushing the passer and making sure we take the quarterback down.
Chris, it looked like, and Steve kind of said, you guys were looking to run a little bit more early, and they came out throwing on every down. It's not an excuse, but obviously you were set with a defense that was a run defense. How do you get better at just getting a pass rush when even though you don't have the right call necessarily, or aren't looking for the right, run versus pass?
Well, Spags might not like this answer, but we're gonna play the run on the way to the quarterback, man. We'll meet at the quarterback, and the run we'll make sure we stop it on the way to it.
What's the challenge with this Eagles offensive line? Obviously, they're really well coached, but what stands out about them, and what's the challenge going to be?
That's a well-coached group, very cohesive group. Got some big bodies. They got a lot of talent over there. Lane Johnson, the left tackle. There's some of the better tackles in the league, and Leonard Dickerson. He's a stout guy. And the center, who Jason Kelsey picked, it kind of mirrors the Jason Kelsey game. So they have a very good front. The right guard, who came from Alabama, is very, very huge, athletic. So, yeah, offers a challenge, offers a good challenge to us as a D-line to get after it. And, we love to compete against, this type of talent. So gives us a challenge to compete against a better offensive line and, get after it.
Chris, Ashton looks to play well in his limited snaps. I guess how far have you seen him come in the short time he's been here?
He's coming along. He's still young, so we can't put too much responsibility on Ashton. But in everything we've asked of him, he's done well, and I think he'll continue to get better throughout the year.
Chris, you guys have played as the defending champions for the previous 2 years. Now that you're playing the defending champion, can you feel the sort of energy that maybe you guys have been matched up against for the past couple of years?
Listen, it's a very fortunate situation to make it to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, we didn't win. It gives us a little more of an edge that we didn't win, that we get to have an opportunity to play these guys again, against a heck of a team, starting with Jalen Hurts and those outside receivers of his. And, this is a heck of a team. Saquon, you can go on and on about the talent that these guys have on their offense. So, for us, offers the challenge to play them again and also get some payback.
Anybody else? Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys.